Hi, I'm David Goatley. Welcome to my studio. The purpose of this little clip is to introduce myself to you as a juror for a forthcoming art show. And I thought I'd make this a general talk about art shows and what jurors look for in them, how to prepare for one, what you could hope to get out of it, and I hope there'll be some useful information for you in here as an entrant. I've been a professional painter for 30 years now, more than 30 years in fact. And I began in London, England, at Camberwell School of Art. And when I was at Camberwell, this is what I looked like. This was my first ever portrait. And it was almost one of my last, because at Camberwell I spent 2 years, painting mainly abstracts. I studied Rothko and Barnett Newman and Jasper Johns, Frank Stella, all the heroes of the day, and I almost didn't paint a portrait again, although that's what I'd gone there, I thought, to learn to do. But I did come back to it. And in the last 30 years, I've painted over 400 commissioned portraits, as well as thousands of others. And it's been a lot of fun. I love painting people, and I've been very lucky to have painted some of the people I've painted, who have included princes, kings, a prime minister, several lieutenant governors, a couple of premiers, all kinds of people in business, the law, the arts, and of course families. I've painted lots of children and their delighted parents all across North America. It's been a real privilege. To keep myself fresh, as Sargent used to say, it's always good to get away from painting people once in a while, and so I get outside and paint the landscape. I paint cityscapes. I paint the people and places I encounter on my travels. It's been a varied and interesting career, and I feel very lucky to have enjoyed it. I think it's very important to look at the rules of whatever show you're entering very carefully. Make sure that the piece you're submitting fits the brief and sticks to the rules, because you don't want to just be disqualified because you didn't read a rule book. So be careful of that. So, what am I looking for as a juror when I'm looking at work? Well, I like to be surprised. I like to see ideas I haven't seen before. I like to see subject matter I haven't seen before. I like to be impressed, everybody does. And sometimes I'm impressed by the thought behind something as much as the way it's executed. Obviously, technical ability counts for quite a lot. If something's really well done, then one's drawn to it. If it's well composed, well thought through, and it's exciting, then yeah, I'm likely to be drawn to that. And the things I tend to move past quite quickly during are things that I've seen all too often before, or things that are poorly done. Sometimes things just aren't quite there yet. You can see that someone has really tried, but they've still got a little way to go. They've still got a bit to learn. And you think, well, maybe next time, but not this time. Because I think that the purpose of a show is to encourage excellence and to encourage and reward creativity. So I like to have in a show things that everybody will enjoy, I hope, and learn from. So I don't think it is a great idea to include in shows things that are weak or poorly executed, because they're not instructive to anyone. They're not as enjoyable. I don't think it's as productive. I think a show should be there to lift all of us, to lift the standard. I mean, the shows I get rejected from, when I look at the work that made it into them, I think, man, I wish I'd done that. Look at that thing, that's fabulous. And I tend to give prizes when I'm jurying to things I feel like that about. You know, if I look at something and think, man, I wish I'd painted that, I'm probably going to give it a prize. It's an enjoyable process, jurying, but it is also difficult because you do have to reject things. You have no choice, because, you know, exhibition spaces are only so big, people only want to see so many pictures, and the standard needs to be, I think, uniformly high. So with a big slate of entries, there's going to be a lot of rejections. Now, if you're one of those rejections, don't feel bad about it. You're one among dozens and dozens who didn't make it in. And it doesn't mean that you're no good. It doesn't mean that you should quit and break your brushes. I mean, I felt like that sometimes. I thought, what's the point of this? I quit. Enough. But it's, you've got to pick yourself back up, try again. Because in the end, you will get there if you learn from what you see that did make it into the show. And we can always all learn. And I think that's probably the main point of doing this, of doing shows. And it's part of the privilege of jurying them that I get to see what you all do. So I'm looking forward to that. And I hope that I will walk away from this experience having seen exciting new work, learned some new ideas, seen new approaches I hadn't thought of, and new techniques that I could maybe steal and employ myself. And I hope that you find the same. I hope that, you know, you come away from this show thinking, I learned something from that. I saw things in that I'd never thought of. I'm going to try that. And you grow from that experience. So anyway, that's what I think about juried shows. I hope there's been something in there that was useful to you, and I'll see you again. Bye now.